28, totaling $1,653.93. The sewer capital project number 11, $9,444. And the water capital project numbers 10 through 11, totaling $164,680.62. So we need a motion to, for permission to pay the bills. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll start with the.
Okay, one not so new member, Fast Chief Dean Watkins returned last week. We returned him to active status. Wealth of information, beneficial to have around. Emergency calls 26 for the month. EMS 15, fire 11. Member hours 609. Training 89.5. Emergency response. Total hours for month of September 698.5. Purchases and bills, normal operating bills. The only out of the normal we had was the dash cameras for the 2 Chiefs cars, the first response vehicle, and the pickup. Events and training we did last month was our air pack training for the month. We trained on SCBAs and firefighter assist search teams. We did offer community CPR and NARC. We do have our 7th annual GFD Fit for Duty 5K on this Saturday. Just wanted to confirm board approval. It does start at 9. We're usually cleaned up and off the streets by 10 at the latest, 10:30.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
it hasn't run it a couple years.
so may I have a motion to approve
Then
the?
it would be allowed.
Are the police involved?
Those get votes.
No, we actually
Okay.
take care of it all ourselves.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Fire prevention 2023 cooking safety. We will be at GCS on the Friday the 13th, and all the neighboring departments are working together with us. Same as last month, our Facebook page has monthly training safety videos on it. One thing that's not on the report, we were dispatched for a structure fire mutual aid with Argyle this morning.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on.
Very large old farmhouse fire. Our rescue truck, our 93 rescue truck, was on the way up there, developed a major coolant leak. I called Maria to tell her about it. We did end up having to have the vehicle towed. It could be a significant repair. So it is a 93, but the truck is actually, it would be $600,000 to replace it. The rescue truck, the one that the department bought.
Yeah.
6 or 7 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 3,216 hours on it, 27,737 miles. So it's in great shape. It's always been housed inside.
I mean, you can't.
I can't not fix it.
Right.
In my opinion, I'm waiting. I wanted just conceptual approval from the board to keep moving forward on. Millertown Garage is our mechanic, and I talked to him this afternoon, and he was just wanted my permission to go further into seeing. It could be either head gasket or the block, which is not good.
Right.
But we're going to kind of keep exploring to see what it is.
But it's still less expensive to buy.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, $600,000.
Yeah.
For a new
Even if we had to put a new motor in it, it
Absolutely.
would be a lot less expensive than buying it.
Chances are it's Detroit's probably blocked.
It is a Detroit, and
That's just.
And they don't give you any warning. Talking to the mechanic, it's just like, yeah, throw them in there, they go. So, but
what are they called?
The Detroit diesel, it's the block where the pistons and everything sit in it.
It's the greatest motor ever made, but when it fails, it fails. But there's no, like he said, there's no warning. There's no.
It's great until it isn't.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna move forward.
Yes.
Well, let us know what the.
I will. Like I said, I called Maria right up when it happened, so she was aware. So, but thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, Reverend Danko.
It's an update based on the.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
Where was she? I know, but Officers handled, eight,
And you
cases
said
that,
she was alive, right?
Oh, she's alive.
Oh, okay.
officers handled eight, cases that were reported to the department of September for total 98. Our records for September were 3 for total 26. I don't have the county dispatch log since our meeting was so early, they only find it meantime, so I'll after next month.
Mhm.
We've had 2 more vehicle accidents for a total of 21. 36 traffic tickets for a total of 247 for the year. We were awarded $42,000 from the Department of Criminal Justice for some technology, so we'll be updating our fingerprint system with a live scan, and then we'll be able to put one here in the game station and replace the one in the Cambridge station.
So let's just stop there. So that's really good. Congratulations. You wrote to us about that, but
Yep.
I just want to publicly say that's really good news.
We have Officer Gothier and Nussbaum worked on the grant, so kudos to them. And my last note is just that's all I have.
Okay. Mike?
For the month of September, the DPW had 22 hours of overtime. Alberta used 9 hours of sick time. No meters installed or replaced or repaired. The average height in the tank, water tank, was 54 feet. The daily average and monthly average numbers. Major equipment breakdowns, the sweeper broom motor broke, and that was fixed within the day. And out sweeping streets over the past month. The laundry list of the daily routine stuff. Emergency calls and complaints, turned water on and off at the curb at 7 Rock Street. On September 7th, had a heavy evening thunderstorm. Had a couple guys come in and check the village for flooding and any damage.
Mm-hmm.
Future work, leaf picking started this week today. And we have to get on the schedule with Mark Rogers to dig and install new water service up on Gray Avenue with that new construction house. Hopefully that's done within the next 2 weeks.
Great.
Short
Okay, so I had a couple of questions. First of all, I just wanted to update on John Hogan has been going over to Schuylerville to train under their wastewater operator, because they have a 2A system, which is what we'll be getting, a 2A system. And they had a problem that their board was worried about liability. So I got in touch with Dan Carpenter, their mayor. He said really that was the only problem. They were worried about it. We got an insurance certificate from our insurance carrier, and then we have plenty of insurance to cover you. So we got that and we sent it over to Dan Carpenter. So we should be fine with you going over, because John needs to get a certain number of hours. How many hours is it?
2,080, which is a full year of the 2A plan.
Right.
And a
Before
40 hour
he can
week.
take the test for that, so he's got to get going on that.
Right.
And I think what we have to do is try to figure out a way for you to get some more hours over there.
I think so far on paper, which Charlie was signed for, I have 500 hours so far.
That's pretty good.
So,
Wow.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't see the sense in, I want to take the 2 tests just to have it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see the sense in taking the 2 tests and then having to take a 2A, which is activated, which theoretically we're an activated plant, but not under 1985 guidelines.
Mm.
So right now, I mean, I have a pretty good dent in the hours. So that's what I'm.
3/4 of the way there.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, you know.
Personally, I would like to see you take the 2 tests and then the 2A test, just so.
I've already signed up for the 2 tests, but it's not going to be until mid-November. That's the only time I can
Right.
get.
Yeah. So then the other thing is, in order to, one of your guys, Nick Casey, had indicated an interest in being a wastewater operator. But in order for him to be able to start doing some hours, he's the same thing. He'll have to work under John or someone. He has to take the basic wastewater course. And apparently we don't really know where they're offering that
I
locally.
checked with rural water today, New York Rural Water. They do have a correspondence course coming up, probably in November. But it may be a home study course, it may not be, but as far as ACC, which it's always been Hudson Valley does water, ACC does sewer,
Yeah,
but ACC is not offering that course this year. Because
okay, but what about, what's the county doing? I mean, somebody must know where there's a course. I mean, we've
it's
got,
just, it depends on where, because the other instructor retired, so now it's a new instructor, but whether he's ready to take over or not, you know, they might not offer a course for another year. But that's the way, wastewater is different than water.
Mhm.
As far as the courses go, they only offer certain courses once a year, once every 2 years.
Mhm.
That's why it takes so long to get a freaking sewer license. It's horrible.
but,
It's awful.
but Roy, do you know of any places that are offering the course? The basic wastewater course?
I don't, but we do have a water and a wastewater treatment operator on staff, and I'll ask them if they know
Yeah.
anybody.
It just seems amazing that they would offer a course for it every other year. I mean,
I talked to Steve Grimm from New York Rural Water. He wasn't 100% sure, but maybe something's coming.
well, the other one thing I was wondering is, are there short courses? So let's say a person could go somewhere, you know, sometimes they have them for a week straight or something like that. Like, yeah,
They used to, SUNY Morrisville used to offer that, but I haven't seen that.
okay. Anyway, we need to look into that, because that would be a priority to have him take that course so we can start working toward that. And,
So John, how do you find the Schuylerville facility? Is it completely different from ours, or is it pretty easy
It is.
to?
It is in the Kyle. I just heard
Hi,
a voice.
Kyle.
I just heard a voice come from beyond. I'm like, where the hell's that coming from? Yes. So Schuylerville's facility is different than our current facility, but it's comparable to what we're gonna have as far as the SBR, the we're still gonna continue to use the drying beds, but like the SBR is the sequential batch reactor. So that's what our system is gonna be. The only difference is they have a holding tank for stormwater where we're not gonna have one. But as far as what we have down there, the only addition other than the new plant is gonna be a blower building, which there's 4 blowers that are gonna control the plant. The entire plant is gonna be outdoors. There's gonna be nothing covered up anymore. We're gonna have the UV system, which is gonna be done.
is that gonna be under a roof? Like a,
No, nothing. It's gonna be all open. The only thing under a roof is gonna be the UV system is gonna be indoors, and the drying beds are gonna stay the way they are.
okay.
Other
I
than
know
that, it's the same.
I talked with Don and Karen about this, that there was going to be a canopy, I mean, kind of like the pavilion at the VFW over the working parts, so we weren't fighting with ice on those catwalks, and that was always my understanding.
Okay, the plans that I have down to plant don't call for a pole barn or a pavilion over it. There may be, they just may not
I
have
thought
included that.
Karen talked about that. I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, so we'll
But
see.
they wanted to build a somewhat pavilion over the UV, but I told Karen the UV has to stay heated because we don't have a steady flow of effluent all day long. Like some plants, Glens Falls, they flow 13 million gallons a day, so they always have a flow. We don't always have a flow. So if that UV system freezes, it blows the bulbs, that has to stay heated. So they changed the design of that to the UV system inside the blower building, so everything stays heated. Blowers have to stay everything. That's gonna be like a 10 by 15 building. And it's gonna be over by where we have a lift station in the yard now.
Okay,
That's where that's gonna end up being.
okay.
So I mean but as far as over the plant itself, Schuylerville's plant is all wide open. There's nothing covering that plant. The only thing that's covered is the drying beds. The only thing that may be underground so it doesn't freeze is the bar screen of the grid channel, which they have to stay, they have to stay flowing. But there again, we're doing 50,000 gallons a day. We don't have a lot of flow. So the chances for things to freeze up is pretty significant.
Okay, well, okay, so let's not talk about the design anymore. But that they're working on the design phase, so I think we'll
Right.
have a final design, yeah. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to ask about was, another thing that Dan Carpenter said to me is he thought that the Schuylerville DPW had sent over a proposed amended contract for us to share the garbage truck that was a lot less than they had originally quoted us, and I wondered, have you seen that? Okay, so I'll,
That's what I saw, me and Leo talked about. And
Right.
With Andy came down and looked at it.
right,
I haven't seen anything since. then.
okay. Well, Dan thought we would have gotten an edited one of those with a lot lower price, so I will follow up on him and find out where it is. Yeah, okay. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, Mr. Mumby, sorry.
Can't read it from here.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I have it, but you can see big numbers from the past. We're average number 25 a day, 70 registrations even on top of that. We're in our summer hours every summer. We're back in our school hours, I should say. And I mean, one day we had over 31 kids down there. So things are looking up. Carrie Warner came and visited on the September 19th. Guess there's not a lot of youth centers in her district, so she had lots of questions and kind of impressed with what we're doing. So
Great.
kudos to the village for helping us do that. Been working outside the big orange thing, in case you're curious, is called a Gaga pit. It's kind of a dodgeball kind of thing. Very safe though. In order to get somebody out, you can only use one hand, you gotta hit them below the knees. You know, then we're not chasing the ball over the place. So yeah.
So it contains the ball, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And the kids.
It's a new thing, very popular.
Yeah, so until we got, then we got that with a grant from the county, so we're pleased about that. What else was there? Oh yeah, we ended up showing Casper the movie upstairs. Good crowd for, it was a rainy night. We're supposed to be wetter than it was, but we ended up having upstairs. The kids had a great time. Coming up, mainly Halloween stuff. We're gonna make some costumes, having the dance on the 28th, and participating in the parade on the 29th. So, and everything's working well downstairs. No complaints about facilities. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Jim? Thank you. See you later. Okay, my report, which I tried to make shorter than it's been. The town and village comprehensive plan, on October 16th, the town and village will hold a joint meeting, and it will be over at the town building. And it will be a hearing on the comprehensive plan. And both of our boards will be there. And after the public comments, we will each sort of start a meeting, and we'll discuss the proposed plan and see if we want to make any changes in it. Or we could also vote it. We could also vote to adopt it if we wanted to at that meeting. Or we could wait till our next regular meeting. Either one.
Will not be in attendance on this.
Okay, you will not. Okay.
So far it looks promising.
Okay, so we'll have a forum anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, Jim Allen is here to give us an update on the Hayes Reservoir timber harvest. Restore New York, we're working on both restore grants, making plans. The water project, Roy is here to talk about that, so I'm not going to say anything about it. The sidewalk proposal is still pending with Willie. New York Main Street grant, that's still moving along, and it will close by the end of this calendar year. 4 projects are still active, but those will all be closed out by the end of the year. So that will be 10 projects that we've started and completed in this year. The BOA pre-development grant. Supervisor Nolan and I met with our Rubella representatives about launching this grant, and it looks like we set a committee, and we decided that each of the meetings will announce as public meetings, so all of if we wanted to, everyone could attend the meetings, because we're going to publicly announce them.
When's that gonna launch?
It looks like it's gonna be November 1st.
Okay.
I'll send it. I will send out an invitation. The wastewater system, the work continues on the design, and I think drilling is going to happen down there, or did it?
What, the drilling?
The
No,
drilling
they-
for the
they-
design?
They came out Friday and did
Okay,
this drill.
okay. And once the design is complete, Karen Clark will submit it to the DEC for their review. And then we hope to be bidding out in January or February 2024. The LED streetlights, the long-awaited fixtures have come in and the work is being completed. So we are really close to closing on that project, which we'll be doing as soon as everything's put together. The phase 2 assessment of the Dunbarton Mill site. Andy, you want to say something about this? Because I missed that last meeting because we were opening bids.
Well, there's really, they were gonna, Jane, you were on this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there really wasn't much new. They were still, he was supposed to get back to Arlette that day about foliage removal, trees, and, so we could, the people doing the phase 2 could get to the sites that they need
Yeah.
to test.
Mhm.
And I didn't hear anything. She didn't send anything out that day about whether they'd approved it. They're really slow in getting back sometimes.
Oh, that was supposed to be done last spring,
What?
the foliage removal.
Oh, but we didn't get permission from EPA to do it.
Yeah.
So they don't want you to do anything to the site
Mhm.
that might stir up, hazardous materials, I guess is
Yeah.
that. So we're not gonna be able to move the piles because those probably contain asbestos. But I thought that you were just reminding me that. I haven't heard anything from Arlette on that.
Okay.
I'll
And-
send her-
And we also haven't heard anything from Ritzco about them improving our,
Oh, the lien agreement?
the lease
No, they're
agreement.
still discussing that internally.
Okay. So it's been a little slow hearing from the EPA. Okay, so the Parks and Recreations Task Force will be meeting on October 10th to plan for next steps. Adirondack Glens Falls Transportation Council project about the connections for biking and walking. That one, we're waiting to have, for that to start. And the WQIP grant, we haven't heard about that, of course, because we just applied for it. But I did have a conversation today with our Labella representatives, and the governor just announced the TAP grants. And because we're about to start putting our pipes in, I think we should apply for that TAP grant this year, because that would be for the streetscape for downtown.
Oh.
So I was talking to Norvell about that.
Mhm.
She's gonna prepare a proposal for us. I would like to have them prepare it. So I'll have more information on that.
I have a question about the sidewalk submission, proposal that you've been working on. Is Main Street included in that at all?
No, that is.
Excellent.
No, there's nothing. I purposely.
Right,
looked at-
okay, and what did you focus on?
It's very small, so
Okay.
it's just on, John Street. Like 300 feet of sidewalk, that's all by.
The multimodal sidewalk grant is $20,000, which is nothing.
Right.
And but you can get multiple years.
Right.
So that's what we work on.
That's what we-
But Mike,
So you get the 20,000
And then we'll.
for a number of years, or
It's
just
20,000,
one?
then we gotta do it again, and do it again, and do
Oh.
it again, and just keep
Yeah.
piggybacking and working down.
Okay,
that.
well, that,
Yeah, it's better than a sharp stick in the eye.
yeah. But Mike, I know that Leo had said that the CHIPS money could be, am I?
You can use CHIPS money
Of
for
course, he thought that there could be a,
if there's any left over, but CHIPS always has lots of places where it can go. You can use it to buy equipment, you can use
well,
it.
they did, No, but
You
Leo
paid.
had kind of promised
Earmarked
us
some.
that after you did Gray Avenue, that whatever's left we can use for sidewalks. So I'd like to get back with him about that and make a plan for the spring.
Great.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would caution on the TAP monies is historically those have been capped.
Mhm.
So we want to make sure that when Labella does the grant application, they budget it generously,
Okay,
because what happens if it's capped is if, 2 years from now, we go out to bid and it ends up coming in higher, we're committed to doing that amount of work and then the village has to make up the difference. So
Okay, what do you mean by cap? Like if you put down, we want, $500,000.
well,
that's it.
they'll give you $500,000, and if the project runs over for some reason,
Mhm.
the sponsor eats it.
Okay,
So
Good to know.
just a word of caution on those. And I've seen this happen time and time again with multiple sponsors around the state, most villages and towns. So because it's also a federal aid program, you gotta touch all the bases to get approvals. And sometimes that can be a lengthy process, so whoever's doing the design, we would want somebody that's experienced in doing that. One of the, Barton and LaJudas or, Clough Harbors or that does federal aid projects all the time.
okay. All right, well, we'll talk about that. So that's coming. And that's really the end of my report. Let's see, what's next? Okay. All right, so the first new business. Roy, you're up first. So let's talk about our
First.
water equipment contract project awards.
Okay, so for the record, I'll back up to, so last week, I was up here with Esrom and Mary here, Jane, and we opened up the bids for the water project contract, 1B, we called it, in 2. The reason it's 1B is we purchased all the material to get it in the queue, and get it here, and that was under 1A, and then 1B is the installation work for contract 1. And then we had contract 2. Contract 1B, for those who haven't looked at it in a while, or listening or whatever, that I think it's just Kyle that's on, but if someone else is on. So 1B is basically the water treatment plant to the bridge, and then some work on Main Street heading towards Cumberland Farms. And then contract 2 is a lot of these streets within the village that aren't the main DOT drive. So a lot of the side streets. Those are the difference. So contract 1B, the apparent low bidder on that one was Tech Industries. And they submitted a bid of $2,358,822.75. We went through the process of checking the bid. It was complete. There was nothing that they omitted or no changes that they wanted to make or took exception to anything. We had called some references because when we opened the bids, we all talked about how we weren't too familiar with them. So we did call some references. They were split, but there's nothing there that says, hey, you shouldn't award to this firm. So we went ahead and gave you the recommendation to award letter. At the same time, contract 2 bids were received. Tommy Kuricki Company, TKC, submitted a bid for contract 2 of $3,589,822.00. So we went through the same process with them, and there's, everything checked out. For both contractors, we asked them to submit their MWB paperwork because it's not required to bid, but it's required in order to get the EFC to accept the contracts and start distributing. So we asked them for that. Pending submission of that, we had said, hey, these are good. But then we started looking at the overall budget. And Andy, thank you for the soft costs that you had sent me and everything, that spreadsheet. So when we look at the overall budget, when this job started years ago, we had originally, I want to say it was like 5 point something million, and then we expanded it to be 7.8 million. And with all the bids received, if you were to award, so we already awarded 4A and 4B. We already awarded contract 1A for the material. If we were to award contract 1B and contract 2, we would be over, along with the soft costs that have been spent on the project. That's for bonding, legal, engineering, and everything. We are over the 7.8.
I thought it was 8.5. It was 7.8. 7.8?
What does that get us to?
So that,
If we add everything up, where are we?
Yeah,
How much was the total now?
okay, I said to Andy earlier. With everything that we've awarded, which does, or not that we were, sorry, with everything received that we know the cost of, it put us to 9.5 million in change. So to the, and that does not include contract 3, which hasn't been bid out yet. So
Okay.
prices have gone up incredibly. That's the new well pumps and connecting the 2 new well casings to the water treatment plant. So it's a short stub of pipe and valves, blow up hydrants. Basically the cost of that is 1 VFD, the pumps, and a water meter. That's the cost of that one. I think it was at 250,000 originally when we estimated it. I'm looking to see if I have that number. I sent to Andy earlier. Okay, so here it goes. Right now, to be exact with everybody, so when I take the contracts 1A, 1B, 2, 4A, 4B, and then all the soft costs, and project out if we were to award everything, we'd be at 9,505,288. The original budget for the well replacement was 250,000. And with these contracts where they don't include, that was in the original value for the piping, was the Main Street work. So yeah, we've seen costs incredibly increase the last few years, and we're seeing that hit us right here.
What's do you have a revised engineer's estimate for the well work?
I have not. It's something that now that we see the numbers, we're going back and redoing. I have not yet done it. But it's something we have to do to kind of give you a feel for where you're at. Because basically at 7.8 and now we're at 9.5 with more expenses to go. That was something I was talking to Kyle about earlier. We exchanged some correspondences with Andy earlier about this, so it's something I wanted to bring up and kind of alert everybody.
Okay, so what do you suggest for us to do? I mean, should we go out for, we would have to take more loans out to cover the difference.
If we were to award everything, we would have to go back to the EFC and ask them to extend the 0% that we have.
Mhm.
And I think that can be done, but it's an additional debt, and it's something that you guys have to decide, because you were originally going to take out a 0% loan on 7.8. Now
well, the difference between 3 million, which is our grant, and 7.8.
correct. I'm sorry. So you had a $3 million grant, and then the so 4.8, and now you're going to increase that some more. So even though it's 0%, you're not paying interest on it. It's still more money you're paying out in the long run.
It is, but whether our options cut back on the project?
You could cut back. You could extend your loan. For now, if you weren't sure of a decision you want to make, you could always award one contract if you want to see some pipe moving now and hold the other one. So I'll double check the documents. I think it's a 90-day period that they have to hold their bids on. So you have 90 days to decide, just so that everybody doesn't feel like they're rushed, like I need a decision now. We have time if we wanted to, that they have to hold their bids on the agreement.
Right, but we were approved for over, I want to say it was something crazy like 15 million ceiling for that 0% loan.
Yeah.
I believe you were definitely approved for more. I don't know the value. But like I said, I mean, you can take it. It's your call. I'm just kind of giving you the options out there.
Mhm.
Well, we need a new bond resolution for that, but that's not that hard to do. Can we if we award these contracts, and we get an extension on the loan from EFC, can we then look for grants to cover it? Or are we foreclosing grants to cover any
I
part of
think
that?
what we should do is talk to the EFC, because since we got this grant, the EFC has expanded and went from 3 million to
Right,
5 million.
okay,
So the grants have gone up. However, it's 60%, or 5 million is
60% what?
Of the
So-
project.
of the project cost, yeah. So even
Yeah.
if we, even on the original numbers, well, 7.8, we wouldn't get the full 5 million because we didn't have a big enough project. Now that it's getting bigger, then you may get the additional 2 million now, because it's either 5 million or 60, whichever is low.
Okay,
And 60% of
yeah,
seven-
Right.
of 9.5 is 5.7.
right.
Who's the appropriate person to talk to them? Is it your
I-
firm or
I
is
would
it
think it would
Andy?
be so the EFC has taken the stance historically that they'll talk to us, but only in the presence of the village. They
Okay,
have an agreement with you, they don't have an agreement with us, so they'll talk to us. We can definitely talk through with them. I've been on various projects, I've been talking to various people over there for stuff like this. But it would have to be whoever you feel you'd want on this end to represent the village, multiple people, one person, whatever,
Mhm.
or they won't talk. That's just the truth.
Okay, so
They're
we
gonna
need
need
to
us.
set up that call
Yes.
and figure out who's gonna be on it and as soon as possible. I would
Jane,
think.
do you know who the person is? Do you recall the person we've been working with on that end? So who's your,
Brian is one. Is a financial. People, but I don't remember her name. Brian is the guy who I've been sending the documents to
Yeah.
get paid.
I'll look, I have her name, I know what you're talking about, yes. So I'll set up a call.
The other thing is that if we were to award the two contracts that we were talking about for tonight, we do not think that they will both start before the first of the year, right? I mean,
No, they both have told us verbally that they intend to get sticks of pipe in the ground this fall.
okay,
So when I
How are-
talked,
okay, so let's take that. I mean, are they paid as they complete sections of the work
Yeah.
or?
Yes, each
They
month they would submit
they
a,
submit a progress payment request, and there's payment for like mobilizing and stuff, and then there's unit prices for this, and for this job, because we bought the material ahead of time, there was a ton of unit prices, so everything is broken right down. When I talked to Tech Industries, they wanted to start on what's the one about a wastewater treatment plant?
Eddie
What?
Street. Start Eddie Street.
Waste-
No, by the wastewater treatment plant.
Oh, wastewater.
Rocks, it's what? What's the one?
Barber.
Barber. They wanted to try to bang Barber out and start to finish, get the whole job done.
That's part of contract one? Oh, 'cause
That's
it's
part of
up to
budget
the
1B, yes.
Yeah,
So that street was remote from the other ones, so but it touched that work on 1B, so we just put it into 1B, even though it's mainly the transmission main. But they talked about there's no reason they felt that they couldn't get that street in, and then they could button up and not have partial work or anything at the holidays. So they had talked about that street, and Tommy Kubricki Company has talked, I don't know which street they want to start on, but they've talked about wanting to get pipe in. And then the other thing they want to do is they want to take and go through your inventory and get it out of your yard and into theirs and store it in their warehouses and everything, and they want to have it all so that they know it's winterized and it's good to go. And so they've talked about getting going and doing stuff now. That's the
okay.
discussion they both
but
had.
they're not gonna do the whole project
No.
now. So we're talking about them doing a relatively small percentage of the
Correct.
total work.
That is
So they wouldn't be paid for, they would be
They would-
paid for what they
they-
did, right?
let's pretend they do a quarter of the work or 20% of the work. They'll get paid about, a quarter, 20% of the contract value.
But
Yeah,
is
if-
a fall start for them still realistic with these hiccups we just discussed about the funding and having to work things out with EFC? I mean, are we in a position to even award these in a timely enough fashion that it makes any sense for them to start this fall?
I think it really depends on how quick we are at getting through this and how well the weather holds. I mean, if they're seeing, 80 degrees like it's gonna be this week, and they're seeing that projected another week, they might be getting a little more, ooh, let's go. If they're starting to see cold setting in, then obviously they're gonna be timid. So I think the weather is gonna play a big part in it. But they have to, I mean, they're gonna have to shut down around Thanksgiving time because the plant shut down for paving and they're gonna be out of luck. We've already told them that, hey, we're not against you putting pipe in, but there's no cold patching, there's no graveling it, there's no leaving this site, in a bad situation, and they understood that.
Andy, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't general municipal law limit the amount of time we can require contractors to hold bids open to 45 days?
I don't know. It's
Okay.
possible, but I haven't ever really looked at that because I don't think we've ever run across this before.
I don't know if we have.
I think that's historically been the case. So
Well, okay, even 45 days, how fast do you think we could get a conference call?
I bet we get one this week.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I bet we get one this week. When's your next board meeting?
when we call one, we may need to have a special one.
Right.
16th is
Right.
our next board meeting.
Well,
Oh
we'll
yeah,
go over
when
there.
everybody's gonna be there, and I could potentially be sooner if we need to hold a
Yes,
special
we
one.
could, yeah. I agree.
Because I mean, even if we're not gonna spend the money this fall, I mean, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we can't award if we're over our bonding limit. I mean,
I don't think so.
I don't even think we can award it until we've upped the bonding limit and everything to be able to do it. So we really need to get cranking at the
Okay, so the bonding, well, first of all, we don't know what we were approved for in the first place, right? But we know what we,
So EFC can tell us that.
Okay.
I don't have that.
Okay. So it's possible that we had a limit that was high enough to accommodate what we need.
So we would need a new bond resolution
To take us to that limit,
to
right?
take us to enough. So what would we put in it so we don't have to do it again? Assuming that we had to borrow for the rest of the project.
So what I would recommend is that, so we'll redo the well contractor, redo the engineer's estimate for current cost on that. We'll redo the Main Street to current cost, and then there's been discussion between Kyle and some of us about potentially putting a Beal in on the project. There's a lot of, I guess the water department's having a nightmare chasing plastic pipes that we don't know where they went. And people have run them over the years across lots and where they are, and if it leaks, you can't find it because there's no metal detect, there's no tracer wire on it or anything. So we'll get I guess we're working on a cost for a Beal, what it would have cost to do that. And I think we need to put all that into the estimate. If anything, even if you chose not to do a Beal or something later on, get it into the EFC, say, here's our new engineer's estimate. Are you approving of this? Then if they say yes, you guys can make your decision as to how much you want to spend, and you can make that, but at least you'll know in your back pocket, hey, they said yes or they said no, and we know what our 0% is going to be at, and we can get that information so you guys can make an informed decision.
Right.
And the bond resolution would be up to an amount. It wouldn't require us. We could always
Correct.
pull things out later.
And we will really push to get the additional WIA money, of course.
Yes.
That's our preference. Get as much of that as we can.
So that might cover most of the increase.
It'd be nice if we could get another $2 million.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll get the EFC, and I'm also gonna get the DOH on that call, because the way it works, for your wastewater project, EFC handles everything. They handle the controlling the funding, and they handle the oversight of the design and technical, all that stuff. On the water side, the DOH handles part of it, and the EFC is the cash register. So the EFC is just dishing out the money, but the DOH has to approve of the increase in cost, increase in scope. So I'm gonna get them both on this call and get a conversation going. They've switched the person at the DOH who's handling this, because the person who was handling it for us left.
Yeah.
She's now in Saratoga County. So I'll get Rebecca involved in this. I'll ask her boss, who's been involved from the beginning, to jump on the call too and see if we can get Dave Phillips on there and iron this out.
Okay,
But on this one, we'll have to have EFC, Village, DOH, and then, we'll jump up.
Okay.
Get on there.
okay, good. All right, as soon as possible. How about Friday? Okay.
You wanna wait that late? I mean, I can even try to push sooner. I mean, what's a good, do you have any good dates right now that we can talk? I mean, is there any bad days for the village?
Wednesday is a bad day. But Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday or Friday.
Is there anyone else that wants to be on the call that has bad times they want to talk about?
I can, other than, 10 o'clock on Wednesday and 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 tomorrow, I'm good.
Okay.
But maybe you and Kyle should be on it and I should be on it. That's what I'm wondering. And I,
kind of think it'd be good to have the mayor on there.
Yeah,
That's all.
okay.
It-
Andy, you need to be on it too.
I can try to, tomorrow 9 to 10 I can't do.
Okay.
1:30 to 2 probably can't do. Wednesday,
I can't
just-
do Wednesday, so.
okay, you can't do Wednesday. Wednesday, I have a trial in the morning, so not the morning, but anytime in the afternoon. Oh, that's Thursday, I mean.
Okay, so
Anytime.
Thursday afternoon?
How about Friday?
Friday I could do all day. I have something, but I can move it.
The Friday's our best day, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well,
And Kyle, if he can,
Well, then we have a quorum.
Well, if Kyle can't make it, I'll sit in.
right,
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Willie's probably, better suited to this conversation with his, background with the contracts and finances and so forth.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kyle. All right, okay.
So, and I just quickly wanted to share with the board, in my whole situation, I sunk my teeth into the plan set on Eddy Street, and I didn't really get into the village before, I got somewhat incapacitated. And it was just recently I realized a Beal wasn't on there. And, just once we passed that resolution around the Cumberland Farms expansion, I just thought it was included, that was our intent to tidy up all these cross lot services. So, a Beal is in the town in its entirety, but probably 60% of the block has village water, but it's all coming through backyards from Van Ness. And it just seemed, prudent that, this is the time to get that tidied up. Mike can attest to, we've already had some, problematic leaks that were hard to find, and chewed up a lot of hours in the middle of winter, and I just don't think that's ever going to get any better. And we might as well just bite it off now and get it all fixed, and we're not going to have to worry about it.
And just to kind of put out there how bad some of these are, if I'm not mistaken, when they went to do Cumberland Farms, the old house or whatever that was there, they had like a service into it and then a service out of it to the house behind it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't even, they might cross the lot, it was cross basement to somebody else's house. Yeah. So, yeah, so there was definitely some interesting ways to get water over the years, and I don't think any of us know or want to know how they got that. It's
Well,
appeared.
yeah, there's probably some skeletons in the closet we don't even know about with this one. And again, it was kind of a mess that we created. So I just felt pretty strongly like this is our opportunity to to fix it, not have to worry about it.
Okay, great. Okay, Roy, so
Okay,
you
so
know
I'll
what we
set
have
that
to
call.
do. Okay, all right, let's move on in the agenda then. So I appointed Cassidy Deschler as our court clerk because I don't know if everyone knows, we actually hired the former court clerk as our new treasurer. So they needed to replace Joanne McDowell. And so the justice found this woman, Cassidy Deschler, who will serve as court clerk until the end of the term. So I need our board approval of her appointment.
So moved.
Okay, so Willie and Maria, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, the next thing is the pro-housing resolution. Background of this is the governor has announced an initiative to improve housing, and municipalities who get the status of a pro-housing community have preference in getting grants for housing and that kind of thing. So you can either demonstrate that you've already increased your housing stock, or you can pass this resolution. And because I don't believe that we have yet increased the housing stock, although our revitalization plan and the comp plan all have the goal of increasing the housing stock. So I'd like to pass this resolution, and I think you've all read it, right? So essentially, it states that we agree that we need more housing, and that not having enough housing for people who want to buy or rent is a negative for us. Should I read this, or do you want?
No, but is there, can we potentially increase our housing? I mean, is that a realistic goal?
Yes.
Okay.
We can, because for example, we have ideas, let's say the Dunbarton.
Oh, right,
You know,
okay.
let's say there are other ways that we can increase housing.
Okay.
So all this does is it says we believe in doing that. Okay, so here are the things they would like us to do. We might streamline permitting for multifamily housing, affordable housing, accessible housing, accessory dwelling units, and supportive housing. Adopting policies that affirmatively further fair housing, incorporating regional housing needs into planning decisions, increasing development capacity for residential uses, and enacting policies that encourage a broad range of housing development, including multifamily housing, affordable housing, accessible housing, accessory dwelling units, and supportive housing. So if we pass this resolution, when we apply for grants that have housing in them,
Right.
we say that we're a pro-housing community, it will give us preferential standing.
Or if we apply for grants for things that service housing, like water and sewer.
Right, and there's that too, yes.
Because if we want to increase multifamily
Right.
housing in the village, we probably need to
Yes, we do.
augment those
Right.
things.
Exactly. So may I have a motion
I'll
to
make a
pass this
motion.
resolution? Maria seconds it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Pat. Okay. All right, on to the next item. Okay, John Hogan phone stipend. Now, John, would you explain there's a stipend for the phone that's in the wastewater system now, right? But you're using your phone for village business because you don't carry that phone away
The
around.
phone that's down there now is an iPhone 8, and because it sat down the sewer plant for so long with no Wi-Fi, no service, it's never been upgraded. And it's never upgraded. I brought it home, hooked it to my Wi-Fi, tried to upgrade it. Excuse me, it wouldn't let me do it unless I hooked it to an iTunes account, and even then it wouldn't let me do it. So I missed a lot of emails with that phone, a lot of text, this and that. The only thing that comes through on that phone is some number that says, "Hey, how are you?" whatever the hell it is, and then car dealers. Other than that, I get nothing on that phone. So everything's been done through my phone. So
Morning-
that phone's
morning.
pretty much been, I turned it into Jane because it's
But
useless.
is it connected to alarms? That's what Kathy was.
Yeah,
saying.
like I asked if it had anything to do with the alarm system.
No, we have no Wi-Fi, we have no system down.
All right.
There's
You
no
don't have
alarm
another
system.
dialer or anything like
Do
that?
you
No.
need a phone down there?
Yes and no. I mean, a phone specific for the sewer plant, no. But that's where I do all of my reports and everything come from the sewer plant, but I use my phone as a hotspot because we didn't have very good service down in the water plant. So everything's done through from the sewer plant to that area, you know what I mean? Because, but as far as phone specific, there's for the sewer plant, we don't, it's,
There's no landline.
no, nothing.
And no Wi-Fi, and no
So
Wi-Fi.
There's no, I mean, I've been looking to get Wi-Fi. When the new plant comes, we're gonna have to get Wi-Fi down there because everything's a SCADA system. But for right now, we can deal with, we can live without it. But the village does have, I believe it's T-Mobile for cellular. And T-Mobile has a cellular program where they'll put a box down there so you can have Wi-Fi. And then we can set up the the phone, all the phone alerts, all the so, but until then,
But meanwhile, you'd like to have a stipend for your phone because you use it for village.
well, that's
business.
all I use for that.
And Mike, isn't that what yours is? You have your own phone, but we could, yeah. I mean, to me, that's a good system. Then you don't have to be carrying two phones around and et cetera. So how does everyone feel about approving that?
I think it sounds good.
I'm fine with it.
Okay, let's make a motion.
I'll make a motion when John receives a stipend for his phone.
I'll second it.
Of $50 a month, is that what?
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Oh, I can't pick the side.
No, we'll put you on a bad one.
Okay.
That's it.
All in favor of John's receiving a stipend of $50 a month for his phone service that he does, all the village business on.
I think that T-Mobile's Wi-Fi is, if you're on auto pay, it's like $30 a month.
Well,
If you don't have auto pay, it's 50. It's simple setup, as long as you got decent service there.
Right.
And it's
I've seen that, but it was fairly simple.
Okay,
It's right, you can do it right on your phone.
okay, so we're gonna say, okay, so that's approved. Okay, now, John, also, I went down and talked to John at the water plant because he has some ideas about the fencing, and we just wanted to talk about this a little bit. The fence around the solar array had to be partially removed when the new wells were put in. And then, so then that's actually against the regulations, for the solar system.
Oh.
And then meanwhile, we don't, so the wells are just not unprotected, the gates aren't even shut because actually it's really, is this the same thing?
No, two different bids.
Because, you can't really stop on 74, there's too much, there's no place to pull over, the traffic is bad.
That is good, there is dark.
Yeah, I know, because so John's idea was explained, John.
Okay, so what I wanted to do initially was to build like a truck track style where you take the gates from away from the road
And pull them in,
you pull them in 20 feet.
so you can pull off the road
So you
and
can
get
pull off
out and
the
open
lot.
the gate without being on
And
the
that
road.
was, to me, that was the safest. But then Jade actually brought up the notion, what about an automatic fence? An automatic gate. And see, so back it up a little bit. I think I'm pretty much the only one in this room or in this village who listens to wastewater podcast. So the electric fence is common, not so much up here, but down Westchester County South.
Yeah.
You listen to these podcasts, their initial concerns are ever-changing laws, regulations, DEC, EPA. Their second biggest concern is safety and security, because I guess there's been a lot of incidents statewide.
Yeah.
Disgruntled employee, somebody who thinks a water bill is too high, just trying to sabotage equipment and wastewater plants.
Yeah.
So, with the electric gate, I mean, We go in and out of the water plant, we go in and out of the sewer plant. I'll go in and out all day long.
And
He might come down and get a step ladder, or come down and do something, whatever, or the sewer plant. You know, we might have 3 or 4 different guys going in and out.
Mhm.
For them to go into the truck trap and unlock the gate every time, it's a pain in the ass.
Well,
So
what's- I
the
guess-
automatic gate, every time we leave there, the gate's closed, locked, secure. It can't be opened unless it's by one of our remotes or a fire sign.
by the way, I think we have to have it secured. I mean, it's our,
Right.
look at all this
Well,
money we're investing in our water system.
Well, the only thing that's unsecured, the water plant really is the solar field. And we have, I think it's the proper piece of fence that goes back up there. That fence was taken down 3, 4 years ago when they drilled the new well. Has been put back up. Now that they applied for the 1R and 2R permits for the new wells, they're gonna be working on those wells. So I don't see the sense of putting the fence up and having to work down,
But also,
you know.
yeah, I think it makes more sense to secure the whole area.
So upon Jane's recommendation, I looked into the automatic. Do you want me to read this
And
off?
this is just for the water gate, right?
Just for
Not
the water
sewer.
plant. So the sewer plant, Karen Clark wants to do an automatic gate down there out of the grant money.
Right, right.
Part of the overall sewer project.
Right,
Yeah.
right. 'Cause
Okay.
but that's the thing, security is getting to be a big thing across
Yeah.
the state, making sure your gates are, you know, just there's too many crazy people want to harm everybody, so, you know, it hasn't made the Greenwich yet. Knock on wood,
No,
but,
but
so do you want me to read this estimate, or do you want to just?
Is this the $17,000?
That's 17,000 for the automatic gate.
Yeah.
But the biggest expense, excuse me, for the gate is all the safety devices, the electronic eyes, the siren. The siren activated is, if you get a fire truck going down 74, you get the siren going, the gate will start to open. As the truck goes by, it keeps going, the gate will close. Because it triggers decibels and pitch of the siren.
Why would you want it to open?
If you have an emergency down there.
So
So you don't,
So you don't have
so
to
it
get
can't-
pull into the,
you don't need 6 remotes for 6 fire trucks.
Yeah.
You just pull up with a siren
All right.
and the gate opens up. But that gate will not close. If it opens at siren mode, it will not close until you physically push a button to close it, and then it resets.
Okay.
So that's, the only thing we would have to do is provide 115 volt power out there, which is nothing. We can do that ourselves.
Right.
So that's not a big deal. But,
okay. So John was gonna get several estimates, and at this point, he's only got this.
so
one.
far,
We have to
Access
get
Head
multiple.
is the only quote I received. They also did the survey.
okay,
I sent this survey to AFSCO Feds in Queensbury
Okay.
and Sienna Feds in Latham.
okay,
AFSCO Feds, they responded to me and they said they were gonna have their gate specialist look at it, give me a quote.
Okay.
Sienna Feds, I heard nothing.
okay.
I contacted Adirondack Feds, they are pretty much residential.
Mhm.
There's one more fence company I contacted, they said they can do it, but they have no manpower. So
Eventually they can do it.
eventually they can do it.
Okay.
So just
So-
document all that.
Yeah,
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 right.
so we're not gonna,
Act on it until we have.
Artie has a question.
John, why don't you get a hold of John Hedberg, see what he can do for you?
That is.
that's Access Handle.
You said you did.
Yeah, that's where we got the
Yeah.
quote from, Fort Miller Group. Yeah. But I've been looking through, and again, my stupid podcast, and different things around the state, north of Westchester County and outside of Nassau County. These prices for an automatic gate are pretty comparable. So I think the quotes I get are gonna be only within $200-300 each.
Yeah,
As far as the automatic gate.
right. but
True. We
for
just
our-
need to
we just need
follow
have
our
our-
purchase.
No,
yeah.
right, we just gotta follow, right.
Yeah.
And quote number 2 was basically the truck track.
Okay.
And for them to reuse our gate, our hardware, install some more corner posts and fence posts, it's $3,400. And that's them installing.
Yeah,
The price of materials, if we wanted to do it ourselves, would be $1,260. But the likelihood of us being able to do it with all the fall projects, this, that, we picking
Yeah.
project, it's gonna be unrealistic.
okay.
So,
And also, if we're getting the gate, they should install the gate and everything, they'll have to be out there.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
right.
So, okay, you're just telling us about the project. We will be
Yes.
looking forward to the other.
Right, I'm
quotations.
waiting for the other quotes.
And we'll have to, approve them at a future meeting, but if we may be having a meeting sooner than our next regular meeting, and we can do it then. Okay,
Yeah, and even right now, I have no quote from
yeah, but that's okay. Okay, John, thank you.
Well,
Okay, so moving on. And thanks for thinking about this, also coming up with a solution. Okay, old business. Jim Allen, finally.
It's nice to be old.
Right.
So things are progressing pretty well. Probably by the end of tomorrow, we'll be about a third of the way through acreage wise on cutting. The forwarder operator is about 5 to 7 days behind in their pickup, but you know, they're still plugging away.
Is that because of the pave? No, what, is that because of the pave?
No, just because he can cut 3 times more than what that guy can pick up in a day, so it's just that way.
Right.
We've had 3 checks so far, and they've been increasing, getting bigger and bigger every week. This week should probably be one of the bigger ones, but it'll be, you know, next week will be pretty good as well. There's about 5 acres of spruce left to cut, so there's still some there. Really, some of the stuff they're selling for ash logs is very good for us. I mean, they're selling what I would call firewood because just where the market is right now. So it's made out very well for us.
Mhm.
We had a car there today. Seems like every night there's a board meeting, there's a car and comes in, drives in, parks.
Where was the car?
When you come up, when you turn in to go to where the leaf is, she parked right there. So there was no place for trucks to get in, turn around, or nothing.
So what happened?
They pulled up, waited. There was 2 trucks waiting, and they called me to see where I was because they knew I was in the area. And I said, "Well, I'm about 20 minutes away." I said, "But I'm on my way." And so then they took a picture of her license plate and they were going to send that to me. And then the next thing you know, she come walking down out from up the road somewhere. We don't, you know, she didn't go out by the pond. She come down the other way. The guy's like, you know, the park is closed. No, it's not. I'm like, yes, it's closed. It's, you know, it's all over the website. This is a truck driver.
And there's signs.
Gave him a little bit of attitude. And he goes, well, you know, if you're gonna park, you at least need to park. I can park wherever I want. Nice. So he just said, okay, look at. So he chose their car.
We don't know who it is.
We don't know who. I don't have a clue. And they do have a picture of her license plate. They just didn't send it to me. So because she left. So trying to
Have him send it.
Just
find
find
out.
out.
we know it's a newer Kia. So we don't know.
Oh, you can bury it.
Yeah. Well, that's what
Just attitude alone. I mean, if you have
Right.
a move the car yourself.
Well, the guy like, look at, I could move it with the truck, but it just
Absolutely.
that
I'm
pretty.
just thinking a truck parked on either side of it.
But things have been going well.
Yeah.
There you go.
A scratch from that truck is probably not gonna be a repairable scratch. It's probably gonna be.
I'm not talking about a scratch. I'm just talking about
Boxing them in.
boxing her in.
Well, she didn't have to worry about it. They didn't have to box her in because they were in the road and she wasn't getting by until she backed up so they could drive by so she could get out.
Okay.
Because they couldn't even get by her where she was parked.
I feel lucky that we only had 2.
Yeah, it's been very quiet.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of vehicles that drive up and they turn around. I think they just, you know.
Well, the gate's open, so they.
So the gate's open, and that's the thing. A lot of people when they pull in, they're just so used to just pulling in and driving. They're not looking. So there's
Right.
nothing, you know. There's not a neon light out there saying closed.
Maybe
But
just
it's
be
been
curious.
pretty quiet. DPW's been up there a few times. I've seen them come in today with a truckload of leaves. So and I think everything's working there. You got the leaves going, and but really, yeah, things are plugging away pretty well. And you know, if anybody wants to do another walk at any time.
Well, actually, that was fun. We really enjoyed that.
It's an interesting process.
Yeah.
So it's and it's everybody said it's loud, and I actually got out this today when I got there and down by the gate, and you can barely hear them out there, so it's not that loud at all. Yeah, Amish have been up a few times to visit.
They have?
Oh yeah, they're looking for logs, so they're always looking for stuff. So they come up, they run up.
They thought maybe you had some that you didn't want?
They just, anytime they see it, they just look, so.
Uh-huh.
And, but yeah, so it's been pretty good. And,
But by the way, so the checks you've gotten have been pretty much out, right?
yeah, I think in total, I mean, you want me to say the total, I know the total rate to the penny,
Well, because not
It's,
everyone knows.
$80,397.38. This week's check is not enough to make up the $2 million shortage.
No.
I got a fire truck to take stuff.
Coming probably going to go over the 100,000 mark, probably close to 120. So, the way it looks, we're gonna be, the spruce volume is probably gonna be 100,000 feet over what I had on paper, so you're looking at another $30,000 on just the spruce.
Wow.
So, I mean, just, a ballpark number, I don't hold to that, but.
Well, it's just a nice conversation to have. Instead of like, we
It's
have
not
to
often you
spend
get
a lot
money
more
coming
money.
in that you don't have to spend it.
Instead of we have to spend all this
But,
more
yeah.
money, now we.
Like I say,
I know.
I said, $1 for the new one.
Hey, wait.
I haven't heard any truck complaints in the village, from the village too much. I don't think there's,
Jane, have you heard any things?
and, I mean, there's 3 different trucking companies right now that have been hauling out of there. There's his own company, his own trucks, and then there's Tatro trucking, Tatro trucking, and then another guy out of Petersburg, JT Casey. He was in there today, first time, and I think there's only going to be
So
maybe.
how does that work? That he
He arranges all that
arranges
stuff,
that?
and like the hardwood logs, that they have a buyer come right to the job, and he buys the logs, and he arranges his own trucking.
And he picks the ones he wants?
He scales them right there, and at the end of when he gets done scaling, he writes a check to the logger, and it's done.
You should go up and see the machine. It's really the amazing machine.
If you want to go, just let me know. I'll go with you. So, because we try not to have too many people there, and we try to park out there. But it's yeah, I mean, between those 2 pieces of equipment, you're looking at.
They're impressive.
Well, so the
Really
cutter machine, he just priced a new one just to see where they're at, because his is only a year old, but the new machine is $894,000.
Yeah.
So,
Whoa.
that's with no, no financing. That's just.
Yeah.
It'll take cash,
Yeah.
so.
That's about, yeah.
Already, imagine the
He did a demo for us.
Imagine how many logs you get.
Really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, if other people are interested.
Yeah, I mean, loader.
Yeah.
Just let me know, we can set up another time. I will tell you, it does look different.
No.
So where he is done is where we walked that day.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything on that side of Thunder Mountain will be done, that lower section.
Mhm.
So then, once he finishes that, he's gonna work up around, to the west or east and side of Thunder Mountain and around that side into that corner. And then he's gonna come back down and finish up through the spruce and then into the red pine. And then the last section you probably will cut will be on the north side of the power.
Okay,
So,
great.
just as a,
Where does the money go?
It's going into our
Like a general
coffers.
fund?
What?
Like a general fund?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A new gate water.
No,
that's why I try not to throw numbers out there. But
well, we do need to allocate some of it to, parks and, to developing the park, but, we haven't made our mind, we have not allocated anything. Yeah.
And we did cut, so right behind the sign that was there, there was a dead ash tree. One day, I can't remember if it was last week, I think it was last week, one of the limbs fell out and into the road. And so he called me and said, hey, Jim, that ash tree, it was dead. And he goes, do you mind if I cut that? I'm like, no. He goes, well, part of it fell in the driveway and it's just gonna get worse. There's a few other ones up on the bank there that are dead. They've been dead since.
So he doesn't do anything with it.
No, he cut it. I mean, they're selling it. So you're getting money from it. So, I mean, it's but the ones that are overhanging, if we can get to them, I'm gonna have him cut the dead ash because it's just,
Well, there's no point.
it's a hazard and if we can make some money on it,
Okay, good. Thank you, Jeff.
again, like I said, anybody.
The good news guy.
I try to be, so far.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, the nuisance law update. Really what we had decided a while ago that meeting, we were gonna take one of our laws and all of us review it. And so we really need to work on our nuisance law. So I'm going to assign the board members to all read it and take notes on it. Andy has some ideas, but this is just an announcement that let's work on that this month. And we will come back, okay?
Okay.
Yep.
I was gonna
Okay.
say, I might have to leave if it's a nuisance.
Yeah. Okay, the next item is to accept our October 1st, 2023 water and sewer billing. So the water billing was $87,815.19. Water reserve, $12,156.96. The sewer billing was $30,874.02. Sewer reserve, $3,385.82. The total, that total is $134,231.99. Arrears, meaning bills that were from previous months, Jane, or
Yes.
yeah, $13,937.13. The total of both of those is $148,169.12. With 886 bills sent out. So, may I have a motion to accept that water and sewer billing?
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Jane, do you have any idea of how that compares with?
You know, it's
Like-
pretty average. It's not really higher. I knew you were gonna ask me.
You talking about the rears?
No, but I'm just
just
talking
only.
about how it compares with, let's say,
Oh, yeah.
last October 2022.
Yeah, I don't know.
And is that a normal amount of delinquent accounts carried? I mean,
Well, it's
it's,
hard to tell because everything gets re-levied
Yeah.
in June, except for the outside accounts.
okay,
So as the year goes on, the delinquencies get higher until they're re-levied again,
okay.
And then they disappear, right?
except for the outside accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, so did we vote on that?
Yeah,
Yes, okay, all right. Okay, I'd love to see, because we have our new meters. I'd love to see what it compares to last year at this time,
And
which we already had the meters too.
how
but-
many meters are not,
we have,
A handful.
installed?
How about- oh, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's still those.
Yes,
those.
particularly the ones on ABL, I think. A lot of those are the ones,
Yeah.
those are the ones that didn't
Sure.
have the
White waters.
Yeah,
It's magic.
yeah.
But you know, we're picking away at it. Mike went down to the elementary school.
Elementary school, there's been a few on VOE.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we've increased accounts probably in the last year, maybe 10 or 15.
Okay,
Yeah.
Houses getting redone. relived.
Yep.
is that houses becoming multi-apartments?
No,
or-
it's becoming vacant properties that have been renovated.
Like Bethany's places?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
For one thing, yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Great,
Pro housing,
what?
pro housing.
Pro housing, we are pro housing. Okay, we talked about the garbage truck. I'm gonna find out from Dan Carpenter where that is, because I really would like.
Did somebody do a motion to accept the water and sewer bill?
Yes,
Okay.
and,
did we vote?
okay,
That's kind of fair.
yes, we did, okay, yeah. Did we vote? Willie says we did.
you did.
So,
Yep.
okay, the resolution for the examination of the court dockets. Maria and Kathy monitored I'm trying to think of, did the examination or audit of the court dockets. So this is a resolution that we accept that. So do you guys want to talk about it, how it went?
No.
No?
I'll talk about it. I thought it went really well.
There's nothing to talk about,
Well,
really.
there was, because it was, I've done it for several years, and I will say that he certainly had all his ducks in a row. everything neatly aligned for us and ready to go, so that we can just look at what he was then searched, so.
And I have a completely different take on the entire process, but it's fine. I'm accepting
Okay,
the audit.
okay. So be it resolved that the village board of the village of Greenwich does hereby acknowledge that the required examination or audit was conducted on the Greenwich Village Justice's court records and dockets in compliance with section 2019A of the Uniform Justice Court Act. So may I have a motion to accept the examination of the court dockets?
So we'll move. So does this mean that, or, well, we can second it then? I'll ask my question.
All right, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Question?
Does this mean we don't have to do this again after?
Every year.
No, it'll have to
Oh,
be done.
No, after
yeah.
next,
Yeah.
after one more time,
Right.
basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
And then it goes away, and then it goes away.
Yeah,
Yes. Somebody else's court.
okay,
It is, the
They do
town,
it over
the
there.
town can audit the court.
Yes.
okay. So, I think that's the end, but James, we have this Charles Friedman,
Yeah, I started getting quotes for the removal of the water meter building.
Chucky.
Two are still outstanding, but that's just to give you an idea of the cost. I got
Okay,
no
and-
serious
12.5
inquiries.
minutes.
what?
I think it'll take Chucky about 12.5 minutes.
Right.
The only challenge is leaving the rest of the building.
What's the?
This Chucky's quote is for $7,500.
No.
To take it down.
To take it down.
Okay.
And remove the.
Demolition
Yeah,
of
and-
attached building to the old firehouse in the village, Greenwich Community Center.
So nobody took us up on the offer to.
No.
have
Wall Street
one?
Red.
No serious, I probably had 30 respondents, everyone from shame on you, or taking it down.
We're taking a historic building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One person who did look at the bill, Mark Rogers, when he was in there, that ceiling is all vermiculite, which he is 90% positive that's asbestos.
Yeah.
So,
Vermiculite is considered asbestos.
So,
yeah.
Well,
go look and do a,
Friedman is required to do the asbestos survey.
If he does the,
Yeah,
Or whoever does it.
yeah, whoever does it, right.
remediation, you know, for something that small, the abatement's gonna be expensive.
Bill?
I'm not, well,
Well,
You
we
remember-
should make sure that he includes the asbestos survey. Because he did one over at 10 Simpson.
Mhm.
Well, actually, he negotiated with the Department of Labor and he didn't have to do one.
Mhm.
But he got it,
He
he
handled
got
it.
signed off, yeah, he
Yeah.
got signed off.
yeah.
Gotta make sure that he's, doing it.
So who else are we getting quotes from? We hope.
Colonial is one of them. A trucking,
Oh, that's.
that's it.
Oh.
I mean, if anyone had any ideas about how to preserve our historic building, that would be great, but I don't know what they would be since the,
It will
thing
cost
it's attached to.
$107,000.
yeah.
So
Only
a
the fif-
suggestion that we should rent it.
What?
Rent it out.
Ooh,
Okay.
squirrels? Squirrels, birds, rats. Oh, they pay, I guess.
Already cats.
Are there?
Is there?
I've seen cats going in and out of them.
Anyway. That building, okay, all right. I mean, the whole back, you know, it's such a. Don't know anything about. Okay, we have a park permit,
And I can't find it up there, so I'm gonna, oh, you have it.
yeah. The Box Hill Baptist. Forgot the church on 26 Church Street. Has a live nativity. Whoever wrote this does not know it's so bad.
What's the date of it?
12/16.
Oh,
Okay.
which would be in the park, a live nativity, December 16th, late afternoon into evening. We'll leave it the way we found it.
Okay.
Did they provide insurance?
Yeah. So. You want- Sorry, I didn't say that.
What a nativity scene is, what is a nativity?
You
know,
gonna,
it's
you,
really-
you're gonna bring a camel and somebody and a baby.
Contact.
There's no contact person.
Well, we need a contact
Yeah,
person.
But Jane, you must have, somebody came in, right?
yeah.
So
The
the question I have,
They have her number.
do we have an establishment clause problem by approving this?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay. Just asking the question.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So, thoughts? Should we approve
I'm
this?
fine with it.
Well,
Pending correction of the errors on the permit application.
Yeah.
Colonel.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve this?
I move,
Tracy McKernan.
I move to approve pending acceptable corrections to the permit application.
Okay.
Did Jane show you the contact person on this?
Yeah.
Yes, Tracy
Yeah.
McKernan.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Last item on our agenda is the tractor parade permit revision, which I don't have. I don't think I have this one. Maybe I do.
Yeah, no, you don't, because I had it up here and I can't find it.
Okay, so they removed the food vendor thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we asked for. That's what they did. I'm good. I'll move it.
Okay. Second?
And did we, no, second it, we didn't approve it in.
No, remember we had.
Okay, fine, just making sure.
We did not.
The weird thing is, he said it's been in every single.
Well, finally read it correctly.
Yeah, that's what he said.
He might be.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so did we
All in
vote on
favor?
that?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
All right, public comment. Artie, do you have what's wrong, Artie?
Bedtime.
No? Good to see you here. Okay, may I have a what?
You guys do a good job.
Thank you. I'll make the motion that we
Adjourn the meeting.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night, Kyle.
Good night, Kyle.
All right, everybody.
This is our next-
Hey, Kyle.
Um,
Thank you for that.
Jane, you know what it is?